Hello, everyone. Happy Music Monday. We're here this week with Ted Russell Kamp. How are you doing today?
I am good.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Uh-oh, now you froze. Are you back?
I think I am.
Okay, you're back. Sorry, you froze for a second.
Okay.
And you're tuning in from California, is that correct?
Los Angeles, California.
Nice.
That's
One
right.
of my favorite places. Cool. How is it over there in LA?
LA's great. Kind of hot.
Yeah.
A little intense summer. We had a pretty serious heat wave. But it's been nice. We've been getting out, making live music again. The last maybe 3 months.
Awesome.
It's wonderful to play again. And the city's coming back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing good. We're doing good.
Awesome. Very cool. And I saw you were out playing some shows this weekend in Arizona.
Yeah.
Were you opening for someone? Have you been on the
No. On Friday night, I play with Shooter Jennings.
Shooter Jennings, that's right. I saw you had a bunch of shows.
So I play bass in his band.
Oh, cool.
And I have been off and on for like 15 years. So we played a great theater, the Vista Theater in Surprise, Arizona, at a great music festival. Cool. And then I stayed in town to do a couple solo shows. So I did a great house concert and then a great kind of roadhouse honky tonk in Mesa, Arizona. We're called Roosters. So both were great. I had a wonderful time. It was a great weekend.
Nice.
And thankfully, the gig yesterday was an afternoon show. So I flew home last night, woke up at home, I'm back in the saddle.
Very cool. Nice. A nice hot afternoon Arizona show. Was it outdoors?
They were 100. It was 105, 110.
A nice 110.
And I mean, it gets hot in LA. We had an intense summer, so we had a lot of 100-degree days. But once it breaks over 100, that's I'd rather.
It's just hot.
Yeah. So, but we did it. We did fine. And it was a wonderful weekend.
Nice. No one melted. Up here we got a melted funk.
I'm sorry. I had some melted technical difficulties. How are you guys?
Well, that's okay. Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you. How's it going, guys?
Good.
I've been listening to the talk. I just couldn't get stuff working.
Everything's melting.
I heard everything, but
I'm also melting in my apartment because it's so freaking hot right now.
Are you melting?
So if you see me slowly, just go down.
Well, if you need a break, then Mel and I can keep it rolling.
Okay. I need to go outside to get cooler.
I'm just gonna lie down on this couch for a minute, then we can keep the conversation rolling. No problem.
just come on over here. I got the AC pumping.
Well, Mel, it looks like you're in Florida or something.
Yeah, I like to pretend. This is actually wallpaper.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
She painted it over quarantine.
I painted over quarantine. Yeah, with my real art skills. I can't even draw a stick figure.
But you can apparently draw palm trees.
Apparently, that's my specialty. Yes, it'll be on Etsy soon. You can check it out.
Mel's whole wall. You can buy her whole wall. She's gonna just cut it off, chop it down, and send it to you in pieces.
Well, yes, breaking things, that is my specialty. I can do that very well.
Well, you're a drummer. Right?
Yeah. I hit things.
No, of course.
Yeah. I can easily break a wall. Build it, not so much, but break it, I'm good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, has anyone tried these Starbucks refreshers?
No, are they good?
I just tried them for the first time. They're really good. I tried
like cranberry or fruit juice or something.
This one is, I forgot what this one is. Mango dragon fruit. I tried the strawberry acai one yesterday. That was really freaking good.
And is it carbonated?
No, it's green tea extract. So like instead of coffee, like it still has caffeine, but it's fruity.
Intriguing.
So it's green tea extract, which is normally clear.
And then with fruit. mixed in. So like it doesn't taste like green tea; it just tastes like juice.
Great.
Are you a coffee or tea drinker?
Oh,
I am much more of a coffee drinker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely have. I love my coffee. Definitely have it in the morning every day.
Yeah.
We love our coffee here.
I will have tea sometimes. I'm not anti-tea. One thing I realized though is like a while back I was on tour in Europe, and in a lot of Europe they won't drink coffee the way we Americans drink coffee.
No, you can't find it anywhere.
It's a very like espresso, like it's little shots. It's a tiny glass, right? And I started having I have these. I'm like, wow, I don't want a shot of caffeine. I wanna have a mug and savor it for a while. So often when I'm in Europe, I will drink tea because then you can like get a cup and kind of hold on to it and enjoy it for a while and make it last.
I like that with my cold brew. I like to hold it for a long time.
It's comforting, and the repetition of it is part of the magic.
Comfort coffee.
I have a couple friends who will have like, the truck stop. You can get the 5 shots of espresso in one little jar.
I would have a heart attack. I don't know how anyone does that.
Or like, some people have like a quadruple shot of Starbucks or something. I'm like, okay, that's not for me.
I smell it and I'm like, ooh.
I want to drink it and enjoy it. I mean, I guess I want the caffeine as well, but I want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll switch over to tea because it slows down the process and you can kind of like put the leaves in and get it simmering just right.
Yeah.
And enjoy it for 10 or 20 minutes. That's kind of what I want when I have my coffee.
Well, I guess you kind of answered it, but Love Cup wants to know, how do you like your coffee? Which is also a lyric from our song, Dear Jane.
Well, there you go. Then I will say I have my coffee with a little bit of milk or half and half. I don't like it black, a little bit of flavor, but I'm not too particular. I don't really like the artificial sweeteners that you find, when you know what I mean. But I like when you get a little bit of milk or half and half.
Mm-hmm. I like it with sweet cream, and I usually do like French vanilla, the creamer.
Okay.
Very much. I like it sweet.
Have you guys joined the pumpkin train yet? Have you started the fall flavors, or are we?
I never liked the pumpkin spice.
I like it a little. I like it a little bit.
A little bit.
I'll have some pumpkin around Thanksgiving and Halloween time, and it's zesty.
What's this?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Mel, you're a big pumpkin fan?
I do like pumpkin. I actually I overdid it to the point where Annie remembers this. I stocked up on so much pumpkin coffees that it would last the entire year. But then it took away from it. And then by the time Halloween came around again, I wasn't excited about pumpkin. So I decided from now on, it's got to be just a seasonal thing.
And then finally by August, you were drinking an actual pumpkin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then you're like, no more. I've gone
no more. Then I had to go a whole year without pumpkin. I was like, no. Vanilla. Back to vanilla. Forget the pumpkin. It's like Christmas music. If you start to Christmas music, it starts Black Friday, not a second before. And then it's really exciting. When they start it too early, it's like, no, can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. It should be not allowed before that.
It's got to be a treat, otherwise it's just overdone.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the day after Halloween. It's not time to start playing Christmas music.
No.
Gotta wait for Thanksgiving. At least Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I think there's already Christmas decorations coming out.
Of course. Yeah. No, see, I like to celebrate one holiday at a time. Each thing.
Why are we rushing this?
Yeah. We got some questions in the chat for you.
Do we have questions?
I think I see some questions.
There's a lot of everyone's just talking about how they like their coffees. We've
There's
got a question.
Go.
Do you guys hit your knuckles on strings when using a pick?
Yeah.
I don't think I do. Not my knuckles.
No, but the first knuckle.
I
Here, for all of the non-musicians out there, I'll give you here's a pick. And when you do this, now here's the thing. I use a pick sideways. I never use a pick with the, a pick is like this triangular shape. I never use the pick with the pointy side facing the strings. I always use a pick with one of the mellower sides facing the strings. And every once in a while, when I get into it and I do the Pete Townsend, I get a little bit of knuckle on the first one, but not really. My fear is when I don't pick in enough and then you miss the string.
Yeah.
Or you get half of a good strum, but not
half a string. Yeah.
That's the challenge.
I notice when I paint my nails that just this finger will not keep. It just won't keep.
Oh, that first finger rubs against.
Yeah. It won't keep the nail polish on.
All right, hold on. Can we just talk about your nails for a minute?
Mine?
When Annie paints her nails.
I paint my whole finger.
Her whole hand. It's like I've never seen anyone do this. She paints the entire finger and then goes and takes a shower and just lets the rest wash off and it'll stay on her nails. I mean, it's genius.
Well, then you get complete nail coverage.
Insanity.
I get full coverage that way.
You get it. I wonder if other people are doing that and they just don't let you know. It's like a secret.
Yeah, it's a life hack.
But like it takes a few days for the rest to wash off your fingers, though. It's not like an immediate,
I guess.
Right? Like how many days would you say you just have nail polish everywhere?
At least like 3 showers. But this one, it will come off because that's my pick, my strumming hand there. It'll just come off.
So you don't injure your knuckle. It's just the nail.
Yeah. I haven't injured my knuckle before. Yeah. Consider
yourself lucky.
Yeah.
I had to have 3 or 4 knuckle surgeries over the years. No, I'm joking. I have neck.
I was like, what?
We believe you.
I was leading up to a Townsend joke, but it didn't really work.
Gullible, I believed it.
Wait, where are we? And we're saying hey to everyone in the chat. If you have any questions about, anything or want life advice, because we're able to do that.
Not qualified.
We're not qualified to do that, but we'll take a whack at it. Yeah. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and we'll answer some of your questions. We were talking a little before about how you met, how we've come into the circle here of the stream team that Diggy Cat from Above Cup has brought together during the quarantine, which a lot of our recent guests have been part of the stream team, which I like to think of it as like a Space Jam, like the Dream Team.
Ooh.
It is kind of like a Space Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of like, what was the cartoon? It wasn't Jessica Rabbit, but there was a space cartoon movie with like Shaquille O'Neal and stuff.
That was Space Jam, right?
And we're kind of like that.
Yeah.
We're not all like rich and famous, but we are a pretty great and eclectic and talented group of people. And so so we were talking about this a little bit before we got on the air. So one of the people who's commenting is Vuff Cup official.
Oh.
And
they're official.
Vuff Cup is a band, and one of the main people is a wonderful guy. His name is Diggy Cat, and he also just a lifelong music lover and a music maker. But he had an internet radio station. And I don't remember how we found each other. Maybe he emailed me out of the blue. Maybe I had hired a radio promoter or something that sent him an album. I don't even remember. But we've known each other for years. And he's been playing my music on his shows weekly and monthly, and it's been wonderful. And I went up to his place. I live right in LA. I live in Northeast LA, in Highland Park. And he lives about maybe a half hour north of me in an area called Canyon Country, right? And so I went up to him. We did a great interview and hung out for the night. And then we just kind of stayed in touch. And once COVID hit and everyone's staying at home, he started a thing called the Stream Team Festival, which is like 9 singer-songwriters. And so he would put us all on. He connected us all and then would put us all on like, I'm going to do a 4.5-hour festival online. It's going to be Wednesday, July 28th. And everyone gets a half hour. And then we all started doing these kind of like Zoom conversation and like chats on Facebook and stuff. And so we're all slowly getting to know each other. And some of the other people are in LA. Some are all around the country. And we started doing these shows where it's like all of us play, boom, 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 boom. And everyone's like we're getting to know each other and comment. And all of our fans that get online are watching each other and becoming fans of the other fans. It's exactly the kind of cross-pollination you want, you know, and that we all talk about and hope for, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, like when you know it is like, even when it's not online, like when you all go do a gig somewhere in Long Island or somewhere in New York City, you're like, if I can't actually help put the bill together, I at least hope that there are other bands similar to us. So the fans of the band before us can like us or after us, and the other musicians, we can get to know each other, and it creates this community and its circle of like-minded people. And Diggy Cat, he did exactly that. And he brought all these people together. And it's like, he's also started a thing recently, which is not really an online thing, but we're like, a lot of us are like writing songs together and sending each other verses and sharing stuff and helping, you know, like a few of the other musicians that are in the area have been going up to his place and recording together. And so it's like, it's real artistic collaboration, cool, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. and rare and hard to find. So yeah, and that's how we met. Diggy Cat knew you and connected us. So
and I met him on the internets.
all of them.
All of them on the internets.
That's right. No, it's wonderful, man. It's wonderful.
Well, yeah, that's why we started doing this, is to, if we're not able to like be like, you know, out consistently touring and doing shows and meeting people face to face, then we can meet them on the internets. And then eventually we get to see you guys in person.
And you know,
one day.
Things is, I didn't even know this until a few days ago, but you're based out of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in New York.
Oh.
And so I will come back, and I look forward to meeting you.
Awesome.
So hopefully sometime, I don't know, in the next year, who knows? I don't get out. I usually come out to New York City to play maybe once a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you know when that is, and I look forward to meeting.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Oh, we have a question in the chat. What product do you use on that gorgeous head of yours? Product placement.
So I've got an interesting condition. My hair would just be huge. So I need to put stuff in my hair to make it mellower and smaller. Like if I put nothing in my hair, it would be full on like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mel. Mel, take your hair out.
Oh, like Mel?
Yeah.
Whoa! Yep. It's a mess right now.
It looks
no,
the same.
It doesn't have the subtle, the wave, the specific wave or curl that you have. But I go through different hair products every year, and it doesn't really matter. I don't want to endorse anyone, but I do believe. I forget what it was. A friend of mine said you get mid-level products, but you change every 6 months or every year, because if you use the same ones, they will eventually not work on your hair anymore. So you got to change it up every once in a while.
Mel, do you do that?
Coconut.
That's like me with vanilla.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a smell you relate to, and that's part of that does right on.
So do you have a scent that you go towards?
I do have I've definitely used the coconut family. Maybe the coconut is the magic of the anti-frizz.
Yep. There are a lot of anti-frizz coconut ones.
Yep.
It's very weird trying to put it up, everything's backwards on the computer when you're looking at the screen. So I'm going this way, but then it's the other way, and I'm
chaos.
There you go. Oh, right there.
Coconut chaos.
Coconut chaos.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's a good name for a hair product.
It'd be a good name for a punk band in a children's cartoon.
Yes.
Coconut chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Like the beats from Doug Funny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyone in the chat, what's your favorite scents to wear? Just like to ask all these random questions.
Oh, Mark has a question. He'd like to know, what's your favorite key to write songs in?
My favorite key.
The key of rock.
I
think that's from School of Rock.
There are a few great keys of rock. I will say, I love E, A, D, G, C. I'm an open key guy. I'm not a capo guy. Some people who are very specific about their singing will find the best key for their voice, and that's the key the song is.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's F sharp or A flat or some weird key. I'm a believer in the open strings of a guitar, and that if you play an open E chord, guitars are made to have open strings resonating, and they just sound fuller and better. So I will usually write my songs. Sometimes I write them on piano, sometimes on bass, sometimes on guitar. Actually, maybe 70% on guitar. So the other instruments are less often. But when you let those open strings resonate, it just sounds fuller and better. And I also, I've also been a bass player and a sideman, playing with lots of people over the years, as well as making my own music. And so when you do a weird key, good musicians don't really have a problem playing in the weird key. It's a little less familiar, but they're not going to be making mistakes left and right or anything. But I'm a big believer in the big classic keys. Like Sweet Home Alabama, key of G, baby. Back in Black, key of E. Like the David Bowie. Like, these are songs that were written with electric guitar riffs, and there's something magical about those open strings. They just sound bigger, and and if you have to move it a half step up or a half step down, even if it makes your voice sound slightly better, it makes the band sound worse. So I'm a big believer in those open keys.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Matt wants to know what originally got you into music the most.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I grew up in New York, not far from Annie and Mel. I grew up in Westchester.
Oh.
Which now for those of you who are in other parts of the country, if New York is a giant triangle. Right? And New York City is the bottom corner. And Long Island goes out to the east. Now, I grew up in Westchester, which is just a tiny bit north. So people in the city will call it upstate. And even though I grew up 9 miles away from the Bronx, It's still called upstate. It's still really this. It's anyway for the suburbanites in
It's
Westchester,
true.
call it Westchester, and like the rest of that stuff is upstate, not me.
Right.
I'm like, because like my parents met in Brooklyn and moved to the suburbs so that me and my sister could have a nice, safe suburban upbringing. But thankfully, in New York State, while I was a child, they had a requirement. Every school had to have music. So when I got to the 4th grade, everyone had to learn an instrument or join the choir, and I was mortified by having to sing in public. So I started playing the trumpet. So I played the trumpet in the 4th grade, and I gotta say I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I did it all through high school, and I got better. I got really good at it. And at the time, I thought it was just because I was kind of a nerdy, quiet kid, and oh well, this is another class. I should practice the way you have to do your social studies homework or your math homework. And then after a while, I became one of the best trumpet players in my school. And it wasn't until years later, like after I became a professional musician, that I thought, wow, there's something going on in my brain that cognitively helps me understand music, and the right side and the left brain working together, and like doing something intellectually, but also having it be passionate, which maybe when I was in the 6th grade, I just sounded better than the other 6th grade trumpet players because of this thing in my brain. Like I didn't really know it or understand it or have words to describe it. I was just like, well, I like it. It's not so bad. It's kind of fun. And I played the trumpet in the school band. And then when I was in high school, I got a bass guitar, and that's really when it shifted for me. When I started playing in rock bands with my friends. And then you started to decide like what songs by what bands you wanted to cover, and then your personality really matters more. Like when you're just reading notes and following along with the orchestra or the concert band. That's one thing, and that was pretty wonderful. But when you can kind of like get into specific music, and also the magic of the rock band for me at the time was there were only 4 of us or 5 of us. It's not 40 of us, and the teacher is deciding what we're going to play. It's like, wow, I can, and I grew up in the 80s, so it's like, do you like classic rock in Boston and Allman Brothers, or do you want to play REM and Husker Du, or U2? Or Fishbone? Like there were so many more choices, and like a friend of mine suggested Kiss, and I'm sorry, Mel and Annie and any of your audience, I hate Kiss. I think they are the most simplistic rock band almost of all time. Wonderful marketing, horrible music. And I remember a moment in high school, a friend of mine was in a band. He was like, I want to do the song by Kiss, and I'm 15 years old, and he plays it like. He lends me his cassette tape of Kiss, and I'm like, I listen, and I'm like, I really like this guy Jeff, but this music sucks. Like, I will not do a Kiss song. This is simply not good. This is simply not as good as Men at Work, and this is simply not as good as Genesis. It's simply not as good as the Rolling Stones. I will not do this. Please find another Kiss song. I respect your love of Kiss. Makeup is cool. Guy's got a big tongue. Anyway, so it's like it evolved from there. And when I started playing in rock bands with my friends in high school, then I guess I was allowed to get more particular in what I liked in music and what I wanted to do in music, And so we started playing in different bands, and I very quickly, as the bass player, because once I actually I still play trumpet a little bit, but once I became a bass player, every band in high school and every band in college, they always need a bass player. It's always two guitarists and a singer who are best friends, and now they got to find a drummer and a bass player. So I very quickly started playing in lots of bands, and like having to learn, like, oh, this group of guys likes the Black Crowes and Ozzy Osbourne, so they're my hard rock band buddies, and this band likes, REM and Husker Du and the Smiths, and they were my like college radio band buddies. You know what I mean? So I very quickly started to play in lots of bands, and then I was also still in the high school big band and college big band. So I'm getting into like Glenn Miller and Count Basie and like Stan Getz, Jerry Mulligan. Like, so it's like I had a very eclectic kind of grab bag of music all around me, and I got to play bass and guitar in all these different bands, and kind of start figuring out what I relate to and what I don't relate to. And I wasn't really at the phase where I would say no to people. I would just do it because it was like new and different and exciting, So I'd have, and I even forgot what the question was, but
what got you into music?
Yeah, no, it was the trumpet. Like,
yeah,
like by New York state law, I had to learn an instrument, so I did, and then I got good into it. I got into this is the fingering for the F scale. This is the fingering for the B major scale. This is how you play, pictures at an exhibition. All these pieces I started, just being around, and then and my dad was my parents. I truly love them. They were both wonderful and really great parents, but they were kind of pre-Beatles. They were not rock and roll people. So my mom was into classical music and my dad was into jazz. And so they would turn me on to, like, my dad would sit around, we'd like listen to Frank Sinatra and Mel Torme. So it's like there was a warmth surrounding music with them both. But it's not really close to what I ended up doing for a living. I mean, it's music in general, but it's not like I'm doing the stuff my dad or mom liked. I'm doing my own thing. But they were both so positive with their love of music that even, I mean, they were not professional musicians or anything, but they had a soft spot in their heart for it, and so they kind of let me do it and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Is something chirping?
It's feedbacking.
What's feedbacking?
Something.
Yeah. Whatever you just touched. Whatever you just touched made it stop.
Oh, I think you helped it.
I didn't touch anything.
No,
I touched my computer, but like didn't actually touch anything.
Maybe that was the alien.
I just
stopped it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we thought it was crickets from another dimension. That makes sense.
No, I was gonna say, are you guys both wearing headphones? Because it just sounds like it's feedbacking. Okay.
Yeah, once you touched your computer, it stopped.
Literally, all I did was like rest my hands on the laptop.
You quieted the
cricket there. Yeah.
I quieted the interdimensional. Crickets.
I put it on my nice little Jackknife Stiletto shark sticker and just rested it, and it stopped the sound. So
it did.
Stand there.
Mel has the power.
I have the power.
Mel has the power.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it again. There was another question up here in the chat. Let me see if I can find it.
Palm mute the crickets.
Can you tell your top 3 guitar pedals?
Guitar pedals?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Or bass pedals. Yeah, pedals.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
That's a bass guitar.
Well, here's one. It's the Keely Oxblood pedal.
Mm.
And it's a great kind of distortion and overdrive pedal. Analog vibe, old school, and sounds great.
Nice.
Here's another one. The MXR Phase 90. This is
That's
the
a good one.
that Waylon Jennings, and actually he used the old school, the Phase 45, which is before this one.
Mhm.
But that classic phaser sound, and then also Eddie Van Halen used this a lot. And he of course mixed it with distortion, and of course he had his whole other unbelievably deep and phenomenal take on how to play guitar. But there's a phaser that's going and I'm hot for teacher, running with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
That's a small part of the Van Halen magic. Here's another one.
You got a lot of fun stuff there.
It's the Boss Chromatic Tuner.
I got one of them too.
Not sexy, but
needed.
tune really helps. Really helps.
That
And
is my biggest pet peeve when people don't use a tuning pedal and they just tune out loud on stage. Like, it's like if you're playing acoustic, you know, it's one thing, but like, get a tuning pedal.
No, like if you're playing alone, you can get the guitar in tune with itself, and most people won't care because you sound good alone. But if you get in tune yourself, and then your other friend gets in tune themselves, then you're slightly out of tune with each other, and so it sounds horrible.
Yes.
So please, friends, the tuner pedal.
Yes, I agree on that. That's a top pedal.
Yeah, there's a wonderful metaphor that happens when you talk about like kids in elementary school. Where it's like plays well with others. The tuner pedal is one of the things that helps that happen. Like, I sound great. I'm in my own world. I don't know what's wrong with you, you know? Like, well, I can't read your mind. So please tune with me and let's play together. Anyway. I'll get off my soapbox. There you go.
Exactly. I agreed. I carry two with me now that if we run into another band that doesn't do it, I'm just gonna let them borrow mine and be like, here, I guess you forgot yours at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one wants to hear that on stage.
Hey, I don't know.
I love the subtlety of like how to be for the sake of the keeping it clean in the last year, how to be an a-hole, but being like the nicest way possible about it. Like, here's a tuning pedal, you can borrow mine. In reality, you're like, you are not in tune. It's the same when like people don't get off stage when they're packing up their drums. Like, they'll sit there and start taking their cymbals off on stage, and it's like, oh, let me help you with that. Here.
Yeah, it's like we kind of need you to get off stage so we can put our gear on stage.
Yeah, I'll pretend to be really nice and helpful. What I'm really saying is get off.
Now we have to understand and respect that moment of rock star happiness, like after you play the great set and your friends come and congratulate you, but then you're like, hey man, it's 9:45 and my band has to start at 10. So that means like theoretically 7.5 minutes for you to get your stuff off the stage. We get our stuff on the stage.
Yep.
So please, let's not leave your gear and like run off and have a drink with people.
No.
Right.
We're taking off like I totally know. I have a great memory of like the drummer with like, and of course it's a gigantic Neil Peart drum kit, like 94 toms, and he takes one cymbal off. Right, and then he like goes out to hang out with his girlfriend. He's like, oh, we rocked. Oh, that was fabulous. And there's like 99,000 pieces of drums. Like, okay, that's 80% of the stage. We can't like. Do you want music to happen the rest of the night?
No.
Like, yeah.
Probably the worst part is like when it is like your family that has no clue about like that part of it. So sometimes when my family has come to shows, they're like, "Oh, hey," I'm like, "I just need 7 minutes. 7. Can you wait 7 minutes, please?"
And it's always no. It's like, all right, fine, I'll see you later, and they leave.
Yeah, I'm like, "You can't wait 7 minutes."
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, because we could get off stage in like 6.5, 7. I know we do. I know we've timed. Yeah, we know how to get off the stage quick. I'm like, I just need 7 minutes. Thank you.
Well, you're both New Yorkers. You know how that is. Like,
yeah,
you're used to lots of people around. You're used to subways. You're used to it's got to happen. I'm gonna.
now.
You know, my part of my job is to make my life great without messing up yours. So you do your thing, I'll do mine. We'll trade. New Yorkers are so great, and actually big city people kind of in general are great at like, okay, I'll do my thing and I'm not going to get in your way. I just don't want you getting in my way either.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And but then every once in a while you find someone who's just like, oh, I'm the king of tonight. Blah, 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 blah. You don't mind. Oh my God. And I can't imagine, because you're an all-women band, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure you get these guys who are like, oh, we just slayed it. You gals don't mind. Blah, 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 blah. Like you get, like I get attitude from people, but I don't get sexist attitude as well from people.
Right.
How are you going to lift that on stage?
Oh, you don't mind using my amp and my pedals. Blah, 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 blah.
You probably don't know how to use one anyway.
I actually have a tone that I do that's part of our sound, and I don't really want to.
Yeah.
Like, you're just kind of being a dick right now.
And then after they're like, wait, how did you get your tone to sound like that? And I'm like, wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, wouldn't you? Well, why don't you be a little more humble next time?
Yes.
And then maybe, anyway.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing I've learned. If you have to give yourself a compliment when you get off stage, you didn't do a good job.
Yeah, totally. No, and that's as another thing. Like when someone shows up with a really big attitude, they're insecure.
Yep.
And when someone is really good at what they do, they don't have to give you attitude.
Yep.
They're like, I know I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to fulfill my part of this show. And often it's the great ones that are the polite ones, and they're the ones that are on time, and they're the ones that like they get off stage as fast as they can, and they set up, and it's like if there's a technical problem, they're like, oh, you can use my DI, no problem, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's the people who really believe in what they do and are great at it that are the kindest or most relaxed and most helpful, because they want everyone to be great.
Yeah.
They're not worried about, it's not a competition, and they're not vibing you out for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's and it's so weird because there's so many people kind of in that, and it's a very big middle group.
Mm-hmm.
when they're like, wow, why are you like, and sometimes you're on the bill with another group that's great, and it's like, why are you giving us attitude? We're in this together.
Yeah.
Why are you giving us a hard time?
Why are you being weird?
Like we're on your side, and like none of your fans are going to think we're better than you all of a sudden.
Right.
It's just a matter of us just like helping each other.
Yeah, yeah. And that calm thing too that you're just saying, like, it's funny, the more experienced the person is, you can see usually the calmer they are when they're setting up or when something goes wrong. That's how you know someone really has a lot of touring experience, when they are so calm in the face of like everything just blowing up. Like,
yeah, totally.
Things are broken. Things are like lost. Something didn't get sent on the flight. Like it got sent off to some other country on the connecting flight, and all of a sudden, like you don't even have your base, and you're like, "That's funny. We got like,
we'll figure it out."
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll go on. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Oh, my floor time is missing. All of the legs. All right. Someone
You have no legs.
That's fine. I'll hit something. Like,
no, have you ever? You may have done this, but have you ever seen like when a drummer break, and this doesn't happen very often at all, but when like the snare drum head breaks or the bass drum head breaks, like two of the things that you can't go on without.
Yeah.
Or like if you've got a guitarist and they have one guitar, they don't have a backup guitar, and like they break a string, and it's like, if you can handle that gracefully, like, great, we're gonna figure this one out, no problem. Blah 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 blah. We're gonna bullshit on the mic for 30 seconds, and we're gonna figure out this. Da, 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 da. We're gonna duct tape a kick drum head together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or just like change a string.
Anyone have a cinder block? Because Mel's bass drum keeps moving away. If anyone's got a brick laying around, we just need a few of those.
Yep. Oh, the stories we have.
But you're totally right. If when you can handle the out of the ordinary.
Yep.
And not get stressed and not get mean at the sound person or start bitching out your other bandmates.
Yep.
There was one time, which is a weird.
It's still a show. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The singer before us in a different band had this weird mannequin thing with like broken glass all over it, and he had cut his hand up on it. And continued the show, blah blah, but then there was like blood and stuff all over the mic stand. So I'm like to the sound guy after, I'm like, do you mind if you have another one? There's blood all over this. And he's like, oh my god, yeah, we have another, don't worry. And I was like, might need Lysol wipes for that.
That's funny.
That's probably yeah. I was like, if you have another one, that'd be great.
Yeah, totally.
There's kind of blood all over this. Maybe not sanitary. I mean, a lot of things here are not sanitary. No problem. But blood, that's not mine.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh man, I once did a show with another group I play with. There was 4 drummers playing for a private event for a drink company, and they had all these whiskey barrels out, and they had put the snare drums in the whiskey barrels so that we're playing on real drums, but it looks like we're playing in a whiskey barrel.
Oh, okay.
The very first hit of the first song, it's me and 3 other drummers, and one of the guys hits the first hit, and the snare drum just falls right through the barrel. The entire show, he air drummed.
Or there was no way to. He was just miming.
He was miming, and there were 3 others of us.
The whole rest of the show.
He's just playing on the barrel, and luckily it was a 4-drummer show, so there's 3 of us actually playing the rest of the stuff, and he's just like, and we're like, there's parts missing, and we keep, it's like, I didn't hear the cue to that, or I didn't hear this part, but okay, keep going. And we didn't know until afterwards, because we're all spaced out on the stage. None of us had any idea what was going on.
That's fun.
After the show was over, we're like, dude, like, what happened? There were like a lot of parts missing. It sounded really weird. He was like, yeah, I had no drum that whole show. It was on the floor in the barrel.
Oh, that's funny.
And I mean, we were out there to play one song. It was a private event. Like, you come out, like, here's the drum show, and then they had other events going on.
There's no drum.
There was no, oh, let us just, fix this. No, it was you go.
That's funny. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Mm-hmm. Totally happens. We are close to the hour mark, so we do like to have you which you didn't even do it in the first place, but why don't you plug what you have going on and where people can find you and find your music and what you got going on? Great.
Well, my full name is Ted Russell Kamp. Oh my God, the website's already there. The TedRussellCamp.com. And you can go to Facebook /TedRussellCamp.com, Instagram /TedRussellCamp.com. I have a new record that came out 3 months ago called Solitaire. And it's like, it's a mellower record than I usually do. Usually it's like full band and a little more rock and roll. But this was, I recorded it at home during the quarantine. So a lot of it is a little folkier than I would normally do. but like one of the people commented about Jackson Browne these days. I got a lot of Jackson Browne influence in my music, and like Dylan, the band. So I got that record. I got another band just before it called Down in the Den, which is a little more kind of full rocking and kind of groovier with bigger arrangements and Hammond organs and harmony vocals. So, yeah, please check out my music. I'm on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Spotify and all that stuff. So, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Annie Vovcup says that's a bloody good story.
Yes. And also that Solitaire is a gorgeous album.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it.
Awesome.
So thank you for appreciating.
Did you like mix it and stuff yourself too during
Actually,
all of this?
I recorded most of it right what you're seeing is my home studio. And I built our garage and soundproofed it and made it into a real studio in my home. And so I named it The Den. And so,
Nice.
So we're down in the den. And so I recorded most of it right here with this mic and a few others. I got some guitars over there, and I borrowed a floor tom and a snare drum from a friend. And anyway, I play keyboards and some horns. I played accordion on some songs, and mandolin, stuff like that.
Awesome.
But I recorded it at home, and then I have a good buddy that named Mark Rains, got a wonderful studio in LA in Echo Park called the Station House, and I've done probably 20 or 30 records with him. Things that either my own records or records I've produced or records that I've been a part of where I play bass on or guitar on that other people were doing with him. And he's a great friend and a wonderful guy. And so, and for all the years that I've been focusing on playing and singing and writing and touring, he's been in the studio the whole time. And so, like every once in a while, when I'm producing an artist or a band, and they're like, "Oh, this sounds great. You should just mix it." I'm like, "Okay, I can do really good, but you want to go to someone who does this for a living." You know, like I'm pretty good at mixing, and I'm good at Pro Tools, and I got a good ear for like arranging and frequencies and panning and stuff. But if you have the extra money, we should go to someone great. And like they've been sitting in a studio every day for 20 or 30 years. Like they really know what's going on. Like I pretty much know what's going on, but they really know what's going on. So I did most of it here, and I'll usually do very solid preliminary mixes that will give my buddy Mark a good idea of what I'm thinking. In terms of like, I'll set up the tones, and if I want a slap back delay on the voice, or a kind of a mellowy kind of room reverb, or like if something is supposed to be really, you know, every once in a while you want a certain guitar to be really sounding, where if you heard it alone it would sound awkward, but when you hear it in the context of the band it sounds great because it kind of pokes out in the right way. You know what I mean? Like the drums and bass kind of fit down here, and then there's some kind of rhythm guitar or keyboards. Like you have to organize the frequencies of what you're going to hear so that you hear everything great. Right. And when you hear a Beatles record or a Motown record or even a Frank Sinatra record, like it's arranged. Like they deliberately have like, oh, the violin's up there and the timpani's down there and the voice is in the middle, and there's no piano planking away while Ella Fitzgerald is singing. So they're leaving space for her because it's her voice that matters. You know what I mean? And so I've got a good feel for that. But I'll usually go to my friends to mix. So on this one, with this record, I did 90% of it here, but he kind of definitely sweetened up and improved the tones in a way that I wouldn't know how to. So yeah,
Nice.
it was the record is very much me alone, but it's definitely a collaboration as well.
Cool. That's awesome. Can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
And did you do any music videos for it?
I did.
Yeah.
I have two.
Nice.
One is called My Girl Now, which is on it's on my website, edrussellcamp.com.
Okay.
It's also just on YouTube, so you can look it up for My Girl Now on YouTube. And then you can also look up there's a song called You Can Go to Hell, I'm Going to Texas.
Love it.
It's also on my website and also on YouTube.
Perfect.
And, this was very much a quarantine album. So a lot of it is about kind of like just kind of the introspective stuff and the worry and how do we get through this and self-esteem. Like it's a lot about the heavier stuff that we were all going through. But I really wanted to have at least 3 or 4 songs that were kind of fun or celebrational or like, what are we going to do next year? Or like, remember what we did last year that was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or like we can make it through. We're gonna, I wanted to have some feel good, positive element songs. I didn't want to just have to be this whole like album of like, wow, how did we mess up the world so bad? What's going on?
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
this goes perfect for Mel's last
Yeah.
question.
Speaking of, we like to ask a question to everyone at the end of the chats. What is your best advice for everyone to stay somewhat sane and positive in these crazy times in this crazy world?
that's a good one. Stay in touch with each other. And if you're a musician, keep making music. And if you're not a musician, keep enjoying music or movies or books or whatever your passion is, whatever's going to help you through. It's maybe not so much right now because we are starting to get out and you're allowed to like go out to gigs and be social. There's still a fear about like, you could, like, I mean, I literally went to Iowa a few weeks ago.
I was just there too.
Yes, you're like, okay, somebody here is going to get COVID because most of these people don't even believe it exists. This is really weird. And so you're like, thankfully we can all get together and play music and see people, but not all of us are vaccinated. Some of us just don't believe it's true or whatever, and it's like, okay. And that's a weird feeling to kind of be on stage and be getting into it. And then you just have this flashing thought of like, how many people in the room today are going to get COVID?
Yeah. Yep.
No, it's weird. It's like gigging is weird enough anyway. When you're trying to make people happy or get them into it, or you're second guessing or trying to figure out the psychology of random people in the audience. You know what I mean? And then when you add a pandemic, you're like, okay, this is strange. But it's still our job to perform and still our job to play and still something we're deeply moved to do. You know what I mean? It's kind of who we are. And so music lovers want to get out to see music as bad as we want to get out to play it. And hang in there. Hang in there, be as smart as you can, be as safe as you can. And, we just got to keep, you have to, like, kind of the key to this year. It's not like the pandemic will just stop magically. Mm-hmm. Like it's here. So it's like, we just have to get out and be as smart as we can and enjoy as much as we can, and not get the guy at the next table sick, and not get our wife or grandmother sick or something like that. It's a really weird one. So it's like, thankfully, like the three of us are involved in music. We make music. We can hang out at home and do it. It's better when we do it in public, but we get to hang out at home and have this freedom, you know. So it's like get it, enjoy music. Like put on a John Lennon album, put on a Mussorgsky album. Buff Cup was commenting. You know, like go to a museum and wear your mask and go to a museum and check out some Van Gogh. There's a lot of you can literally get online and read the greatest books that have ever been written. Stay inspired and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
There's my advice. Thank you.
Love it.
Great advice. Thank you. And thank you so much for an awesome chat and an awesome interview. And we hope everyone at home had some fun tonight. And we'll see you next week.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you again for having me as a guest. It was great. Great seeing you both. And thank you for talking.
Yeah,
thanks for joining us.
See you soon.
Thank you, everyone in the chat, for tuning in and everyone watching on the replay. And we'll see you next week.
Awesome.
Bye.
Good night.